Oh no, the music again. Mian, can you tell us a little bit what was the dance for and what kinds of events are the dance performed?
Okay. So the uncle is going to performing. Is going to perform the martial art. So it's you see he's very old, but he's very.
Very formal. Beautiful. He has excellent form. Look how strong he is.
I see some young person here. That brings me hope.
Okay, let me switch. I'm very curious about how old are they? 伯伯你多大年龄了？74了。He's in his 74 already. 您呢？
我
啊
68。
60 He's in his 68 already, and that uncle is quite young. 哦，你看起来还很年轻。Okay, so for people who's approaching 80 and 70s, they can perform like this. How wonderful they are. So the martial art is also a program that we are going to teach the teenagers in this village for this summer. Okay, so we can, 谢谢, 谢谢. So as we walk here, I just show you the hotel of this village. And you see this? Guess, what's this used for? Guess, what's this used for? Because we see the stones like in the burnt area before it's given by the emperor, but is it also given by the emperor? What's this for? So you see the holes? Actually, this is the thing for tie the horse. So when you travel here and you ride the horse, so this is the thing for tie the horse. So the parking lot for horse. So as we go inside, you can see, because now this is not a hostel anymore. It's not a hostel anymore, but in the house, there are still all those places to place their ancestors. And also why I bring you inside, because as you walk to the back part of it, there actually used to be a library. I mean, in Ming and Qing dynasty, there are two big libraries in this village, actually stored very, very important and precious books. I think accumulates to more than 30,000 books here in this village, but due to some reasons, they are all gone. So that's a pity. But in the ancient time, this village is a very, very important place with two big libraries, which store a lot of classic texts and a lot of very good writings of the scholars. Okay, so let's move. So we are approaching the end of our tour. But we are actually going to two very important settings, very important places for this village. One is, as I just shared at the beginning, so this village in ancient times is really a very good self-organized place. So people living in this village, they organize themselves really well for teaching the children, teaching the women, for supporting the poor students to go for study and become successful people. And also they have a very interesting initiative. I don't know whether you know that actually, so in ancient times, because there are so much agricultural work, so if the household is very poor, the household would want boys compared to girls. So if the household is extremely poor, when they have a girl, they don't have the ability to host her, to bring her up, and then they will just either kill the girl or give it away or just put wherever they want. So this place actually is it's a place for saving the infant in the Qing dynasty. So it's the place for saving the infant. So this place is very interesting, is that the villagers themselves actually initiate this program, and they give money to people who bring the girl infant here to them, and also for households who will further bring these children up, they will also give a fund to them. So in this way, they actually encourage more people who are not able to raise girls in their family to not kill the girl, but bring them here. I mean, in the ancient times, because at those times, disposal and killing is still okay, like underneath. But it not only encourage the villagers to bring the infant here, but also encourage more villagers to adopt those infants. And as this going on, actually is not only supported by one man or a couple of them, actually a lot of villagers join this, and they also start those farming lands and those rice barns that store those wealth, especially for supporting saving the infants. So this is a very, very civilized action to my understanding. Okay, let's go. So now, now we are moving to our last spot. We need some walk, but it's a very, very important spot here in this village. As I just shared to you, actually in the Qing dynasty, there are actually 9 academies, I mean, big academies in this village. And those academies, actually, each academy teaching different kind of schools. You know that there's Taoism, Confucianism, Buddhism in China. And there are more than that, other schools or other subsidiary schools that is going on. So for what's interesting is that for those 9 academies, so different academies teaching different stuff, but there's still the places of these academies remained till nowadays. But there's one very important, famous one, which is called Nanshan Academy. It is the elementary school for this village for the moment. But in the past years, from Ming Dynasty, it used to be the most renowned school around. People even from the county, the more developed part, will send their students here, send their children here for study. So what's the essence of Peitian to have such a good school around? So that's a very interesting question that we are going to explore. So the Nanshan Academy covers 2,000 square meters, and it's further on at the very beginning of People's Republic of China. So, 叔叔在直播. So we rebuilt. They also built a lot of modern buildings around, but the ancient one is still here. As you're walking inside for the schools in Ming and Qing dynasty, how academy is like. So let's go to check it out. So it's very interesting. Every time I walk into this area, I feel so drawn to settle down and feel so peaceful, because this part is very, very, very peaceful and there's no noise. As you walk in this part, we just stay like we just see silently, and you can sense the kind of atmosphere for people to stay focused and focus and concentrated and only read and farm. So for this academy, they have houses for reading, but at the backyard, they have a whole mountain and farmland. So that is the place for the students to farm. So they not only read the classics, but they also farm. Farm and read is a very important practice here. So we are here. 给他们看一下这边. So we are here in this Nanshan Academy, which actually has more than 300 years of teaching history. A lot of famous scholars was invited to this place to teach. So as you can see, as you can read here, the couplet, it says 强第一家, which means even though we are hundreds of miles away from the central part, we are really, really far away. This part says that. But we are the best place for you to enter the study of Confucianism. Okay, and as you can see, this tree, so this tree actually also hundreds of years of history. And you can see this tree is kind of have some life. And there are a lot of interesting stories about this tree. It's like this tree turned into some person and come out and talk to the person, the people study here, something like that. So there are a lot of interesting stories going on about this academy and this tree. And as we go inside, so this is the original setting of Nanshan Academy. So at that time, they have the classrooms, they have the libraries, they have the dormitories, they also have the kitchen, the land, the mountain. So it's a very comprehensive setting of a school for farming and reading. You know why? So I just asked a question, why this academy located in such a suburban area, it become the best school around? The reason is the village treats teacher really well. And they bring teacher even from Zhejiang province, very, very far away from that time, very hard to travel. They bring very, very good teachers, very, very good scholars from around China here. And they treat them really, really well. We call it 尊师重教, which is like you really pay high attention, really respect to education and really respect the teachers. So that's why, because the teachers, good teachers are here and they bring good content of teaching here, and they actually customize their teaching content to different styles of different students. And if the students not suitable for to becoming a scholar in the imperial study examination, they will ask the student to study other stuff that is more practical and more suitable for their living. So it's really like what Confucius see is really 因材施教. It's like we customize our teaching to different styles of the student. And it's also 有教无类, which means we bring the education, the right to be educated to every person. So as we walk in, we can still feel the atmosphere that is going on, that has been accumulated inside this place. If we stay silent and we listen, it seems that the sound of reading is still around our ears. So this will be a typical place for the office of a teacher in ancient times. It's quite good, right? And here's is called there's some 千字文. Those are the textbooks that they studied during that time. So 1,000 words, the book of 1,000 words, and also 弟子规. So this actually brings the principle how to be a good person to young people. So this is also very classic Chinese text that they study at that time. Okay. Oh, this is a very, very important flag in China. It actually shows us the order of Chinese society and how Chinese people behave. Because in China, it's very different from the Western world. In China, we kind of grow from a small family to a household, to a clan, later on to a nation. So we call that the family actually shares the same structure as the nation. But in the Western world, it's kind of more individualized and more is like driven by, from my understanding, driven by the joint force of business and politics. But in China, the structure is very different. That's why Confucius say that 修身齐家治国平天下, which means you manage yourself first. And then if you can manage yourself really well, then you can actually host a really good family. And then later on, you can be a good governor, a good people to the society. So we have this kind of layers of practice, but also it's the same, like being a good person, hosting a good family, and being a contributor to the society. Actually, they share the same essence and principles. So this is a very important plaque in all the academies in China, Asian academies, which is 天地君亲师. So 天地君亲师 actually is the form, is the structure that Chinese people, because we all see that the Asian Chinese people shares a really good harmonious relationship between heaven and earth. But how this actually be applied? Because we have these structures like heaven and earth, and then it's the people who governed, and then it's your parents, your family, and then is your teacher. Those structure are the structure that we need to respect So this is a very, very different mindset from Western world, which because Chinese people really live in a big community and will live a big collective structure. So this actually help us to understand what's our position in the society, in the family, and how to interact with each other with such a big population. Okay, so let's just moving to the last piece of Nanshan Academy.
MIngyang, is this academy still in use?
It's not in use, and this old version is not in use anymore. But I will show you the modern school. That school is still in use. But I will talk about this more. The education in village now actually is under threatened because a lot of villagers are moving to the city and the resources for good education not good enough, and it's very convenient to go to the city for education. So a lot of parents actually choose to go to the city. That is a challenge that the village is faced with and is going to solve. They really would love to have an innovative school here with a lot of people joint efforts. Actually, there's a fund in China for education innovation. They used to work here, but I just think because the timing is too early, so it's quite challenging for them to get all the resources and all the understanding from here. So here we are showing a very, very interesting practice in this village, in Hakka village. You see it's beautiful? It's called wood block printing. So you know the technique for printing originated from China. And the wood block printing, so because this whole county in the ancient times used to be a very important place to print books. So there are a lot of books here in the Ming and Qing dynasty over the nation were printed in this county. So the techniques for printing is very, very advanced in this place. And there's also even another place that is especially working in this spectrum. So we see all those are not drawn, they are printed. So how they are printed, this uncle is showing us. So we have wood block. Oh, wow. He said all these are, he sculptured them. He used this to create this, to sculpture this. And as you make this pattern out and you put ink on that, and you put a piece of paper on that, you put a piece of paper on that with the ink, you get a picture. 这全都是你刻的。Oh, all those are made by him. All those are made by him. He just, this is Confucius. This is Confucius. Oh, this is the dragon. This is dragon. This is one of the god in China. This is one of the most famous beauty in ancient China. He's playing pipa. Oh, wow. People who are interested in Taoism must recognize this. This is Ba Gua. So all are created by him. So he carved the wood and also print this. Okay. This too. Okay, for people who are online today, next year when I go to US, I will bring you as gift. This one is the classic picture that we put on doors in China. So he said these gardens of your home actually are the patterns of the at the end of Dong Han, East Han dynasty, which is actually even prior to Tang dynasty. So this actually is very, very classic garden for your home. The picture is a very, very classic pattern. And he made the wood, and also he print this. Oh, these are his drawings. These are his drawings, the cousins, and also a monk. And he writes, "Where do you get your happiness?" and this is his drawing, the Wu Song, which is a very famous warrior in China. And there's a very famous story, Wu Song who beat the tiger. So this is the Wu Song Da Hu, Wu Song who beat the tiger. He drew it.
这个是谈生节，以前没有一大月饺，当时成为1个月，他就上到6月就卖活了，12月就卖上火。
Oh, this is the god of wealth. Okay. And this one, okay, you see, it reads 司命造君神位. It's like the god who managed the cooker. So you put this in your kitchen. So the god who managed the kitchen, who managed the cooker, will make your dish really, really delicious and safe. Okay, so let's move on. 谢谢你，叔叔。谢谢。先不用印了，时间到了。没事，他们知道怎么印了。谢谢啊。Okay.
Are there any questions for this artisan before we leave?
Okay, so for the ecological part, because we are not walking to the farmland and the mountains today, because for this village, if we want to further go into their farming part and the mountain part, that will be very far away. That will like another 1 hour or another 2 hours. But for the farming and the nature part, the Hakka people actually are really, really good friends with nature. In their cuisine and in their cooking, they actually, for every person in this village, especially the elderly, they understand how to use the local herbs to put them into the dishes. So like 50% of the dishes are made with herbs. And all those herbs, like in the 24 seasons in China, so we have 24 seasonal phases. So they will eat different kind of dishes and different kind of herbs for the health of their body. And the ecological farming is worse a tradition in this village, but nowadays China, I mean, also in this village, are faced with the same challenge that is faced in not only China, but a lot of different places around the world. That is the chemical fertilizer and the pesticizer, a lot of stuff that is kind of so pervading that a lot of farmers are using that. But there are some people who, like young people who come back from the city part, now actually they are doing the ecological farming, and they are doing like how to raise pets, how to raise like chickens, and how to farm rices and farm fruits in a very, very organic and generative way. So there are some young people are starting doing that and transforming the local system, but we are still facing the same challenges that is faced around the world. So people who want to see the buildings that is still being used are those. So those buildings are building in modern times, and they are used for the kindergarten and elementary schools. Okay, so the education part, actually for these schools, they are quite endangered, because a lot of people want to move out to the city part and bring their children to the city for study. But the village, they always have a vision for education innovation. They are pioneering in that, even for education in villages. So as I show you around the village, and the villagers, they are accompanying us today, and they really welcome friends from all over the world to come to this village and to discuss together how to make this whole village as an academy, as a school for future education, for ecological civilization. Okay, so this is the tour for today, and thanks our teams. Give them a picture, a shot, and thank you. Thank you for all the efforts. OK, Vivian，线上的伙伴，我们今天的直播就到这里。我们接下来的部分会是和海外的这个部分的朋友去交流，所以我们的直播就可以下线了。然后你们把直播回放保存一下，谢谢大家。然后不论是关注生态创新实验室的，还是关注培田村的，希望你们follow 我们那个关注我们，然后持续的，我们还会有更多在培田的精彩呈现。OK, Vivian.
Yes, thank you. Wow.
Thank you so much, MIngyang. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to say how impressed I am for your connection, the internet connection. We were so worried that it would break in the middle of the live, but it's great. I have so many questions, but you guys probably have seen that we are quite lively in the chat room. I'd like to now invite Lauren to host the Q&A session. Lauren.
Okay. So, yeah, first of all, you all are welcome to open up your video now, and we don't have any signal challenges anymore. So we did really well. Thank you so much. Please go ahead and put questions in the chat stream as well. But I will go ahead and start with some of the questions that were asked during the tour. So Christo, you are very full of inquiries, so thank you so much. First of all, I want to make sure that MIngyang is still listening, because MIngyang will be the one answering some of these questions. Let's see. MIngyang, are you still there to answer questions? We might have to wait till she's done walking back.
Yes, I'm ready.
Yes,
I'm ready for answering questions.
So some of the main questions were about the structure and demographics of the village. So one is the population mostly elderly, and how much of the young people are starting to come back into the city? And the villages, do people still live in these rooms that you walked through the old village, or is they mostly just living in the new buildings that are on the outer edge? So we'll start with that question first.
Okay. Yeah. So actually the young people are gradually coming back, but it's kind of interrupted by the pandemic, because during the pandemic, people coming to the village are quite limited, and it's really hard for them to earn a stable living here. So I think the structure is kind of adjusting and forming, because nowadays, like in the city part in China, life is also not easy. So I think every nation is going through this kind of challenges of transitioning to new civilization. China is the same. So a lot of young people actually, they want to come back, but the speed for the village to create like vocations and ways for earning monies and train their skills, so is still developing. So that's that we are working together with the village for the past years. So that's also the thing that we are going to working together with more international friends for this, because originally when we came to this village, we tell them this village is the best place for education. But at that time, they were so busy with mass tourism. But we don't think mass tourism is a suitable thing for this village. So the government just collect the tickets fee and share part of it to the village. But because people just come and go and no stay, so it brings very limited benefit to the village. So I think, but with the education part, as we just walked through, you can tell that how cultural, how fantastic, and how the local artisan is like. And we even don't have the time to walk to the nature part. So if you go to the waterfalls, the farmlands and the forest, they are more natural part for the people here to develop. So I think for the current head of the village, they have a vision for transforming the village as a spot for education in the innovation place. So I think as time goes on, as they recognize this truth more and more, we will create good opportunities for more young people to come back. Yes.
Okay, we have another question that dovetails into that. Of the buildings that you brought us through, who owns those houses, and how is that connected to the local government, the national government, and the people who are living there now?
Okay, so I forgot to answer your previous question, is that for most of the villagers, they are not living in this Asian part. So there's new village that has been being built for like 10 years ago, even more than 10 years ago. So most of them are moving to that place, to the new village, which is just close to this old part. So the old part, but they are also allowed to live because all those houses belong to them. So they can live in the old house, but they just think that the old house is not convenient and they want some modern things. So they move to the new village. For the people who live in this old part, most of them are elderly and they really get used to living this kind of lifestyle. So they stay in the old part of the village. And what's really special about this village is that if you go to a lot of places that is so well preserved, mostly it's being owned by a state-owned company or by a kind of developer who actually rent the houses or bought the usage rights of the houses and to renovate all together. But this village is very, very special. All the houses all belong to the villagers, hasn't been rented or hasn't been transferred the rights of usage to any third party. So they own this and they manage this by as a clan. Yes.
So another question is about the use of water. So you showed us the channels and canals on the sides of the pathways. And some of the question was, is that also like to process wastewater and sewage? Is there a way that the sewage is deposited into the earth for like fertilizing? And also about wells. Do people drink from the wells today?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the water system in this village now actually are two sets. One set is this Asian system, so it's still working, it's still going on. So another set actually is a more modern system. So we call it 自来水, so which is supplied by the government, and they have a factory for this water. So which means they actually process the water a little bit, but not as that as in city because the water is already very clean. But that is like built up with the government's effort as an infrastructure to this village. So nowadays when you live here, so normally when you open the tap, you get the water, the 自来水 from the factory of the water system. But the wells and the old water circulation system is still working in this village. So you can see, so if like before lunchtime and before dinner time, you can see the aunties are washing vegetables in the channel. And what you can see are clean water. So all the channels that you cannot see that is underground, those are for wastewaters. So for the Asian water circulation systems, there are two circulations. One is the circulation for the clean water, and one is the circulation for the wastewater. So for the waste one, you cannot see. So when we go to each house, and you see they have those halls, they have those like open area. So when water coming down, it will go directly into the tunnels and direct them out. So it's another system under the ground.
Perfect. I want to invite our participants. If you have a question directly for MIngyang, you can ask that now. Just use the raise hand feature that's at the bottom of your screen, and we'll call on you. There was one more question about at the beginning of the tour, when you took us to see the music. There was a question.
I'll send the videos to you guys.
There was a question about that building. You said the one with 180 rooms. Is that a community
108.
108.
100.
Yeah, sorry, my dyscalculia. Is that a community center, or is that used as a community center now, or what was that building originally designed?
This is a very good question, and a very, very interesting question, because we have really, really limited time to tell the story. So if we show you in detail, you'll be very, very amazed as a foreigner, because you can never imagine that in that houses in the ancient time, a big family is living there. So for that 108 rooms, actually lives a big family, and that family has 5 brothers. And 5 brothers, each of them have a role of the compound, and that role further distributed to their descendants. So that is a big family that lives there before.
Okay. A question from Lisa is, she is wondering, what is the percentage of children that go to college in these villages? So Lisa, if you want that, you can.
So as you can see for this school, so in China, for the elementary school and the middle school are compulsory education, which means you must bring your kids there for education, and it's paid by the government. So after middle school for this village, I would say most of the students can make it to high school and also vocational high school. Most of them can make it to that, and probably 20% of them nowadays can make to universities. And even though, I mean, in the ancient times, there are a lot of famous people and celebrities in business and in officials been educated here in this village, but as the modernization and urbanization in China system changed, so the education system not as that advanced as before. But I think, as we discussed with the villagers and with the head, the really people, the really influential people in this village, they also have a great vision for education innovation in the future in this village, and they actually really recognize the drawbacks, the pinpoints of the current education system. It's not that does not mean that they want to create a new system. They just want to provide something that out of this gengdu, this farming and reading culture that has been passed on by their ancestors and to the society. So I'm discussing with the head of the village these days. So we are going to design summer camp for 5 weeks in this village. So that is in philanthropic endeavor for the local poor children. So no charge for them, but also the children from the city part, they can join. So we will invite those artists and those local people to teach the local art craft, to teach the farming, and to teach how to explore the nature. But also we will invite a lot of scholars that has been connected with this village before to come in here and to give their teaching combined with the local culture to the students. So they also envision this place, this village, even though with the declining of the education, of the glamorous history that they had before. So even though this has passed away and has to pass away because of the whole education system that has been governed by the government and all are for examinations, but they want to work together with people from in China and around the world just to bring this whole person education to younger generations. So they are really, really aspirational on this. Okay.
And this village provides a really beautiful eco-village setting. We have a question from Ron. Ron, go ahead and ask your question to MIngyang.
Yeah, I just had a question. Thank you so much for the tour. My question essentially is, how do you compete with the lure of the big cities? The young students want to come in and have all the excitement of the big city. And how do you sell this idea? They all want to be merchants now. And I loved your idea about the idea of the scholar, the farmer, then the worker, then the merchant. How do you make this a more attractive alternative
in modern
for the young people to live there? Thank you.
Correct.
In modern times.
Great question.
This is a very good and very practical question. Thank you for the question. That is fantastic. You know what? I think it's the same in China and also all around the world nowadays, especially after the pandemic. People are looking for happiness. They feel not so happy in the city part. That doesn't mean that they need to move to the rural side. But I mean, the nature and the villages are really a good spot for people to regain their peacefulness and regain their happiness. And also what can be provided here can be educational programs, can be retreat programs, can be very organic and ecological products, and can be the studios for artists. So actually, we think actually the industries coming out of the villages can be more than the industries that is produced in the city part, because now the city part are producing things and experiences for efficiency and for the fast excitement. But the thing in China and the phenomenon in China that is after the pandemic, people are looking for happiness and people are looking for health and people are looking for the meaning of life. So I think there are a lot of villages like this in China can be the sport to provide this kind of well-being industry and also provide this kind of education innovation for the next generation. And this could be the new industry, kind of quoted, new industry, ecological industry, and eco-innovation for the young people to work for. And there are a lot of young people in China nowadays are really, really interested in that because they just don't want to be a tool just for a big corporation or for the existing systems. And the government also is actually promoting that. In China, the Chinese government is saying nowadays is like 产业生态化, 生态产业化, which means to transform ecology into some industry that can make money, but also to transform the industries to be more ecological. So President Xi said, 绿水金山就是金山银山, which means that the green water and the blue sky are the gold and silver for people. That means when we really preserve the environment and we develop a way of production that is really ecological, and that is for the co-benefit of the nation and of human beings. So the industry in China, especially the Chinese government's policy for rural revitalization, they invest a lot of national money, national funds into that each year to support a lot of infrastructure building and also those programs. So they actually are promoting and encouraging young people to go back to rural side and to work in the agriculture, the ecological industries, not only just to be a farmer, but be an artist, be a healer, be an educator, be any person that can bring sustainable happiness and can bring these healthy lifestyles and solutions to the nation and also to foreigners who are visiting China. So those are things that are really going on in China. It's still just at the very beginning, but I can sense that will become a very popular trend in China for the next 1 or 2 decades. This is my answer. Yeah.
Thank you, MIngyang. We have one final question, which is, does the village mostly depend on farming for their income, or is and it's also of like, is there more of an industry in the area?
So for the industry in this village, for the revenue streams, farming is one part, which accounts for 50% of their income, and the tourism is one part, which accounts for another part. And there are also some like young people who are doing e-commerce in this village.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else who wants to ask a question directly of MIngyang? Otherwise, we'll go to our group discussion now. Thank you so much, MIngyang. You're a wonderful hostess.
Thank you for this host. And this actually, the villagers are really excited about this event because this is the first time Peitian is introduced to the world with English. I mean, lively, because previously, actually, this village has a really, really good relationship with the foreigners. This village became famous due to a scholar. His name is Lao Gewen. And he's a French scholar specialized in Asian studies and Hakka culture. He's a professor in Chinese University of Hong Kong. And he came here 30 years ago, and he documented this village and bring the documentation back to France and make this village popular around in France. I mean, foreign countries at the very beginning. So later on, there are a lot of foreign scholars coming here. It's very attractive for foreigners.
We see that there's a lot of potential for Peitian Village to host a education center for ecological civilization because it's history and it's connected history, right? This heritage is still alive, and also in the moment, the people who are living there are so eager to collaborate globally and to share this gift that they have.
Exactly. And the village would love to, because all the houses that we visited actually belong to the Wu clan, belong to one big family. That is one clan of this one village. So the village is willing to provide all those facilities to the educators from all around the world. Yeah, so they would love to. They are willing to provide that for free for people who would bring good education programs here. And also, they are really love to to bring their culture, their artisan, their skills and techniques, and also their traditions that has been transmitted for thousands of years, hundreds of years, nearly 1,000 years, to share together with people around. And that is not only purely belong to this village because they share a lot of commonalities among all those traditional villages in China. So that's the thing that we can explore in the future, and they are welcoming friends coming here. And also there are a lot of international meetings that actually has been held here before, because a lot of scholars coming here, so they also host a lot of international meetings and events. So probably next year with Professor Wang, Professor Zhihe, so in this resonation with Claremont Eco Forum, so we can have a branch. We have a subsidiary eco forum here in Peitian for education innovation and eco education. Yes.
Well, Vivian, I'll hand it over to you to open the discussion.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, MIngyang. This has been great and wonderfully rich content for 2 hours. It's one of the most long-running programs in our history. And I've noticed, for some of us who live in both cultures, and it is quite a special context for our friends in the US to understand, a village as such. How is it connecting to ecological civilizations, and where are the farms, and where are the natural buildings, or where are the seeds collectors and some sorts, and then that's there. Ecological civilization is a culture that is building interconnection and interdependencies, and you see how people are related in this village and how they greet each other, how they connect with each other, and that's one aspect of social cohesion. And then you see how this village is its traditional form of architecture, although we don't have much time to go into it, but you could see that all the buildings looking like this, not because it looks beautiful, but because it's functional, because it's coherent with its environment. So living in coherence with the environment's offering and its resources is very much how what we could learn from these traditional villages, and it's also the principles that we can bring into building modern eco-villages, and here, both in China and perhaps around different places. And I think Peitian is a very unique place that exemplify how this man and nature live in harmony could look like. And it's still going on, it's still happening. I think that's even more exciting for encouraging us to come and visit and learn and experience. Most of the culture in China can be seen in the videos, but it has to be learned and experienced in person. So we invite you to come with us to experience and to live in one of the houses, and then you can tell how livable that is. I know a lot of you are now, entering in the Eastern Coast in America, are probably now quite late for you. And thank you so much for staying long hour with us. And we love to keep you connected to this ideas of co-creating educators network. So please share your emails or your interest with us in the chat room. We will get in touch. And we have our friends here from the Cobb Institute, from Living Earth Movement and Postmodern Development of China, and all of these elders in the institutions are supporting us along the way. So yeah, I cannot be more content, satisfied, and grateful for all this support that we're having. So please stay with us, and I hope to see you next month as well. Okay, good. Well, with that, we're going to finish our programs today, and thank you all for coming, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend.